Guruji, and they have all been actually released also as bhajans of Swami Dayananda. Originally it was sung by Maharajapuram Santanam. So there are very, very popular songs also in that. One is the Bo Shambho, which is like very popular. So that was composed by Swamiji. There are others also. Swamiji has composed around maybe 20 songs, I think. And even Maharajapuram Ramachandran also has sung many songs for Swamiji. Then there was one lady called Manju Murali. She also sang. I don't know whether it is really available there. So Swamiji had a lot of interest in music. And he also can sing quite well actually. And here our Kalyanji is also very good, with Mridangam at least. I can sing a little bit but not very well trained or anything. But a little bit. So, okay, we'll come to the subject matter here. So any questions, anybody after today? We did have some heavy sessions, I think. How was it? Yeah.
So today, I think you are about to go into the Pangal Upanishad and say like how the universe has been created with the 5 elements. So I don't know if I can ask this question right now or not. So the question is, the ultimate goal of anyone is moksha, like to know the Brahma and which is everything, and to realize that limitless being. Then why the creation happened, like birth and death? So why the creation in the first place?
Correct. So why creation happened means many answers are given. One is to know Brahman only, we have to say at the end of the day. Why did the creation happen means only within creation this knowledge is possible. But another answer which is generally given is that to exhaust the karma. So karma is what we generally say, because Ishvara also has no need to create anything, correct? Ishvara is Jnani also. And Ishvara is Kritakritya, means Ishvara doesn't have anything to be done in any of the lokas or doesn't have anything to do to really become happy. So then why did Ishvara create? Means that's why we say that Ishvara is created only so that the jivas can experience and exhaust their karma. So that is what, in fact, even in Brihadaranyaka also it is said that the jivas themselves create the world. Because while you are living also, you are all the time creating new karma, correct? So that karma itself becomes the cause for further the sustenance of this world's different lokas also. Because again the karma phala you have to experience. For that purpose only all these different types of experiences have to be given, means there are different lokas, we say, different worlds. So that is what is said. Of course you can ask, when did this karma start? You cannot ask, because that is a beginningless cycle for us, correct? The creation itself is beginningless. It's a beginningless cycle. So there is no, but it comes to an end with knowledge. That's what we say. In fact, any creation and all that also we say is only within the realm of avidya. It's all within the realm of ignorance. This ignorance itself is beginningless. But any ignorance is beginningless, correct? Suppose I ask you, do you know Chinese? What do you say? You don't know. When did it start? It's not even I don't know. It never started, correct? There is no start for ignorance, really speaking. If you say I don't know something, you cannot say when it started, correct? There is no starting point for that. But it can come to an end with knowledge. That is the idea of ignorance itself, is something which you know, you witness your own ignorance. But you cannot point a starting point or anything for that. So ignorance itself is considered as something which is beginningless. but it comes to an end with knowledge. That is the idea here. Self-ignorance is called the root ignorance also that way. That's why it is called Mula Vidya and all that. Because this entire Srishti itself is because of self-ignorance, we say. At least taking the Srishti as real is really because of not knowing one's own reality. So that ignorance only you have to address. And to get rid of that ignorance also you require the Sriti and Guru, all that, correct? Guru, Sishya, Vyavahara is also required. You require the Shastra. So all that is part of creation again. Whatever the Ishvara Srishti. So Ishvara creates in each cycle, again he reveals the Veda, he reveals the Upanishads as a valid means of knowledge. And then that is coming in a certain tradition. And the teaching tradition is the way to get moksha. So that is what we say, that Ishvara, why the creation is there means it is for the sake of the jivas only, the creation is there. That's all we can say.
So common. So common.
Yeah. Correct. Different Upanishads talk about the Srishti. The main idea is again, there is one more auxiliary question can come from this, is that since the Upanishad itself is talking about the creation, then is it not that all this creation, is it not that real? Then Dvaita is real, like that it will become. Correct? Like that there is a question actually. Even this question is asked in the Bhashya. In the Brihadaranyaka Bhashya also, this question is raised that why should Upanishad even talk about creation if Dvaita is not real? You say Upanishad is a means of knowledge. Upanishad says that Tasmad etasmad atmanaha akasha sambhutaha akashat vayor agnihi agner apaha adhya prithvi prithvyam oshadayah. Like that there is a Srishti Krama is there. Not only one Upanishad, all Upanishads talk about creation, whether it is Brihadaranyaka, Aitareya, Chandogya, Taittiriya, like that. Then creation also has to be taken as real because Upanishad only is revealing the Srishti, correct? So that's where the Bhashyakara points out, even though the Upanishad talks about creation, knowing the creation, that creation is there is not going to give you any phala, correct? There is no phala mentioned for the Srishti Prakriya itself separately. In the Upanishads, the only phala is mentioned about Atma Vidya or Brahma Vidya, correct? Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati or Atmavid Tarati Shokam. Like this, always this Brahma Atma Aikya Jnana only is shown as having some phala. So one of the important interpretations or the interpretative principle we use in the Veda is every section of the Veda, if it is talking about a particular subject matter, should have a phala. Okay? It should have a useful result or a purpose. So, in fact, we say Veda has to have phalavat artha bodhakatva. Like that. This is specific to Veda or the Shabda Pramana. Other Pramanas you cannot say that. Like I said, your nose will report whether you like it or not, it is reporting something, correct? Whether it is useful to you or not. The nose is an automatic means of knowledge, it is functioning always. And not all of its functioning is not useful to you or even liked by you. But Veda being a deliberate means of knowledge, it cannot tell you something which is useless. It has to always tell you something which is useful. That's why when we interpret the Veda, the phala is an important point. Now we see in the Upanishadic teaching, the result is only there for the Aikya Jnana. But Srishti also is talked about in the same Prakarana, in the same section. Then when you see that, why is it even talking about the Srishti? To point out the oneness alone. That's what Bhashyakara points out. Even the Srishti itself, the Tatparya or the intention of the Veda to talk about the Srishti is because to show that whatever you see separately, so many things and entities, they are all but only one entity, really speaking. They have all appeared from one entity alone. And that one entity is Brahman. Correct? Brahman is presented as Jagat Karanam. Brahman is presented as Jagat Karanam not to show Jagat as real. In fact, it is presented as Jagat Karanam to exactly show that Jagat is Vidya. Because if you see the Srishti Prakriya everywhere, Brahman will be shown as the Jagat Karanam. This is called Karana Karya Prakriya. In the Vedantic teaching, we have different Prakriyas. One of the Prakriya is what? Karana Karya Prakriya. So in the Karana Karya Prakriya, the entire world is a Karya. Then what is the Karana mean? Brahman is the Karanam. Brahman is Abhinna Nimitta Upadana Karanam we say. Correct? It is both the intelligent and also the whatever the proximate cause or the material cause we say. The material cause word is actually somewhat confusing. Many people get confused with that. Really speaking, you have to say, you can simply use Upadana Karanam, it is better I think. Sanskritam is better. Whatever cause is found where the effect is, that is called Upadana Karanam. So, if you have a pot, what is there along with the pot is the clay. Therefore, it is the Upadana. But there is also a potter who is also a cause, but the potter does not come along with the pot. So potter is only a nimitta karana, but the clay is the upadana because it is wherever the effect is, there whichever cause is present, that cause is called upadana karanam. Okay, anyway. So when Brahman is presented like this, what we understand is the karya is not real. The karya is only nama rupa. That's how if you take the Chandogya itself in the 6th chapter, so Sadeva Saumya Idamagre Asit Visa, correct? Ekameva Dvitiyam. And then before this, what is said is Vacharampanam Vikaro Namadeyam Mritika Ityeva Satyam. Like if the Vacharampana Shruti is there. The Vacharampana Shruti is there to show the Karya Ananyatvam with reference to the Karana. So the Karya is not separate, it doesn't have a separate existence from the Karana. Is that clear? That is what we call Vivartavada. So Vivarta means what? Swarupa Aparityagena Rupantara Apattihi. Like that we say. Means, see generally, even when we talk about a cause may modify and become the effect, correct? Like the milk becomes curd, let us say. That is called Parinami Upadana. Because once it becomes curd, there is no more milk, correct? Milk has become curd, you can say. There is a Parinama. But gold becoming a jewelry is not like that, correct? Gold still remains as gold. That's why you are able to go to a pawn shop and pledge it and take money also. The pawnbroker is a jnani, gold jnani. Why? He doesn't care about the nama rupa of the gold. For him, gold substance alone matters. Nama rupa, you may have a sentimental value. This is my mother's chain or father's ring or whatever. That guy has no sentiment with reference to all that. Only the weight matters. And the weight of the jewel is the weight of the gold alone, correct? If you twist the jewel also, you are really touching the gold. In fact, the Nama Rupa is only a Nama Rupa, correct? It is just name and form alone, but really it doesn't have any existence of its own. No, that is what we call Mithya. Mithya means that which does not have an existence of its own, but it may have a name, it may have a form, it may even have a function. But all of that does not have an existence of its own. There is no independent existence of its own. Whatever has independent existence of its own, that alone is Satyam. Okay? That is Sadeva Satyam, like that. There is a Vakya given in the Chandogya Upanishad. The Satvastu, which is Brahman, that alone is Satyam. Because that alone is the Karana of everything. By the very fact of understanding the world as a Karya, we also understand that it is all Mithya. It doesn't have an existence of its own. So why the Shruti is presenting Brahman as Jagat Karanam from all these things? We understand that to only show the world is Mithya and establish that Brahman alone is Satyam, Sadeva Satyam, and that Brahman is not separate from you, correct? Sa Atma Tattvamasi, it says in the teaching. If you see the teaching, the whole context is beautifully created. A context is created whereby you are made to understand that oneness alone is the reality and that oneness is yourself. That is the teaching. So from all these things, what do we understand? When the Upanishad talks about any Srishti Prakriya, the Tatparya is not to establish that the Srishti is real. In fact, the Tatparya is the other way around, to show that the Srishti is only an appearance, it's only a Nama Rupa, it's only a name and form which doesn't have any existence of its own. Once you understand that, then Advaita Siddhi also happens, correct? Then you understand that there is only one Satya Vastu, that alone is really there, that alone is existing really, and that existence is myself in fact. It's not separate from me. So that is why the Srishti itself is talked about. Like this, the Bhashyakara answers that beautifully. So anything which the Upanishad talks, even that is why we say the methodology of teaching which we use is called Adhyaropa Apavada. Okay. So whenever the Upanishad is talking about Srishti or Srishti Prakriya and all that, we say it is all Adhyaropa. It is all Shastra Krita Adhyaropa. Means the Shastra itself is deliberately first, it is superimposing in the sense that it is showing that Brahman is the Karana. But later on what it will do? It will negate the very Karanatvam of Brahman also. Brahman is no, because once the Karya becomes Mithya, Karanatvam of Brahman also will become Mithya. It is no more really a Karana also. Only from the standpoint of the world, Brahman is Jagat Karana. But if world itself is not real, then Brahman is no more any, like it is saying, you saw the snake on the rope, correct? Then we say that rope is the karanam for snake appearance. You can say that from the standpoint of the snake. But really speaking, there was no snake, correct? Even while you were seeing the snake, there was no snake there. That is what we call Traikala Nisheda we can do, correct? Traikalika Nishedham of the snake we do. Snake was never there even before. Snake was not there after you saw the rope. Even while seeing the snake also, snake is not there only, correct? But that understanding comes later. While seeing, you see it as though it is a real snake. Then we say that, okay, you saw the snake because rope was, or you did not know the rope, correct? The rope, Ajnanam, is the Karanam for snake and all that we say. Once that Ajnanam is gone, rope alone is there. So, from all these things, can we so say that rope is the Karanam and all? We can say only from the standpoint of the snake. If the snake itself is not real, rope has not done anything, correct? Rope is there as it is. Like that, Brahman also, Karanatvam of Brahman and all is only from the standpoint of the world. To explain away the world, we have to talk about that. Later on, everything is negated. Apavada will be done. So that is the methodology. Whatever may be the prakriya, everywhere we have to use Adhyaropa and Apavada. And after the Apavada, whatever is left, only the negator alone can never be negated, like I said before, correct? You can negate everything. The Apavada will be done completely by the Shastra, only to reveal that the negator Surupa alone will be then left. Because that alone is Satyam, that is the Atma. So that is the methodology of teaching, because here we can only teach like this. Because Atma is not an object to be shown like a cow or horse or anything. It can only be shown indirectly, it can be taught. But that is good enough actually speaking. Because Atma need not be objectified to know. So it doesn't require, but since you are used to knowing everything as an object of your mind, you still try to objectify this also, which is a problem actually. You have to stop that. Because your tendency is what? Somehow even you do meditation means what? You say that Atma is all pervasive, means you imagine as though you are spreading everywhere. But that's not the idea, understand that. Spreading everywhere means space itself is you, we are telling. It's not that you are spreading everywhere in space or anything. That also is Ajnana, is that clear? What we are saying is space-time is you. Not that you are somehow spreading everywhere in space or anything like that. So this is entirely based, it's only knowledge. It is not some experiential thing also, understand that. Experiences, we don't need any special experience in fact to understand this. Our regular avasthatraya is good enough. Okay, of course if you still feel a need for some special experience and all that, you can do some yoga sadhana and all that. It's not that in the tradition, yoga is not totally rejected or anything. Of course, yoga darshana is rejected. Because yoga darshana is a dvaita darshana actually. So yoga darshana we cannot accept. Because yoga says that Ishvara is a special Purusha, all other Purushas are all separate, Prakriti is separate and all that. So yoga darshana is a dvaita darshana and it is actually negated in the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, the Vrihadaranyaka Upanishad Bhashya also. And yoga, the chitta vritti nirodha also we don't accept as a moksha karana. Understand that? Bhashyakara explicitly rejects that in the Vrihadaranyaka Bhashya also. But chitta vritti nirodha can be useful to assimilate this knowledge. That you have a mind which is one-pointed, which is not distracted by anything else, and which is exposed to the teaching. Of course, Upanishadam Brahma. The moksha and knowledge is only from the Upanishad. So the Shastra, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana cannot be bypassed or anything. Just by Chitta Vritti Nirodha, you are not going to get moksha. Even assuming that you have attained some kind of samadhi as mentioned in the Yoga Sutra and all that, without the Vedanta Jnanam, even that is only, that may be a great accomplishment by itself, but that's not going to give you anything, because once that samadhi also is only a state, correct? Every state has to end. Once it ends, then who are you then? If you are still the same jiva, it's not going to help you. Is it clear? But for the one who has undergone this Vedantic teaching, the samadhi, whatever the Ashtanga yoga sadhanas can still be a useful tool to assimilate this knowledge. Okay, this knowledge only you have to assimilate. For that, a mind which is actually tuned by yoga sadhana is useful. That much we accept. In fact, Bhashyakara accepts the samadhi yoga. In the Bhagavad Gita also there is an explicit mention of all that. And Bhagavad Gita itself, all the Ashtangas are all mentioned. If you see different verses you read, so yoga as a sadhana we accept, but not yoga as a darshana or whatever claims they make. Those things are all actually Avaidika, it's not in tune with what the Veda is revealing. So whatever is, in fact, from different darshanas we accept whatever is valid and whatever is not against what is said in the Veda. That's how we reconcile also between the different darshanas. So anyway, so we started from creation and went into all these things. But the idea is that the creation itself is talked about only to teach the Advaita. Advaita is the reality. To establish this alone, one has to talk about the creation and Ishvara and all that. And that is the only way, in fact, we can account for the world. Because I cannot straight away say that, see, Atma Anatma Viveka is useful to start with. But that will only establish that you are a conscious being who is not any of this world or the body mind sense complex, correct? But still the Dvaita is there, correct? Both these things are there. If both Atma and the world and body mind sense complex are of the same order of reality, then there is no limitlessness or anything you cannot arrive at. So the only way we arrive at limitlessness is how? By showing that whatever this plurality which is appearing is not of the same order of reality, it's only an appearance. It's all only appearance. And that again, like I said, in fact modern science is very useful to appreciate that the world is nothing but an appearance, correct? That way we are living in a better age, I would say. Our ancestors did not even then, but they were very clear about the mithyatvam of the world. Okay? They had their own inference for all that. They had their own analogy, whatever, their Anumana. In fact, one of the best Anumana is Drishyatvat Mithya. That is the, just because you are seeing it, it is all appearance only. Whatever you see is only appearance. Like even dream, they say. Dream again is used a lot. So, one portion of the sadhana is to understand that I am a conscious being and getting out of the identity with the body, mind, sense complex. But after that, what one has to understand is that conscious being alone is Satyam. Correct? Everything else is Mithya. And in fact, whatever is appearing here, its very existence is given by me only. My Atma alone, that is the only Satya Vastu or Sadvastu whose existence is sustaining the whatever, the so-called plurality which is appearing. Therefore, that Sarvatma Bhava we say, that's what. You are the Atma of everything, whether it is sentient, insentient, whether it is a rock, whether it is a hill, whether it is a mountain, whatever, it is a sea. All of that, their very existence is from you only. You are the one who is giving existence to everything. That, and all of this is nothing but it's all only appearing in you. Sarva Bhutani cha Atmani. Sarva Bhutastam Atmanam. Sarva Bhutani cha Atmani. Ikshate Yoga Yukta Atma. Sarvatra Samadarshana. Like that. Gita also is there. The same thing is said in Ishavasya Upanishad also. So the Sarvatma Bhava or Brahmavid Brahmaiva Bhavati and all we say. So Brahmavid becomes Brahman means what? You are everything. That is the knowledge. Everything is not separate from you. Sarvam Khalvidam Brahma also is there, the statement. Of course, that also can be looked upon, we say in the Shastra, in a negative manner, in the sense that Badhayam Samanadikaranyam we say. When we say that all that is here is you, Atma, or all that is here is Brahman, it is like saying this snake is rope. Is it clear? It is not saying like saying this rose is red. This rose is red is one type of apposition, where both roseness and redness are equally real, correct? But when you say the snake is raw, what you are trying to say there is snake itself is not there really, correct? You are negating the very existence of snake. Rope alone is real. Even though the sentence looks similar, rose is red, snake is rope. Both look like similar sentences, but one is called Badhayam Samanadikaranyam. Samanadikaranyam means you are using two words for the same locus. Two words are pointing to the same entity or substance, correct? Rose is red means both redness and roseness are there in one substance. That's why it is a red rose. Like that, if you say snake is rope, both snake and rope are pointing to the same substantive, correct? Same locus. But then in the process you totally negate the snakeness wherever the rope is. That is the Badha. That is also some kind of a, like I said, Adhyaropa Apavada, correct? This also has to be taken as Apavada. When you say all that is here is you, means all that is here is really not there. Only you are there actually. Is it clear? Because none of this is at the same order of reality. None of these things really count, in fact. They are all negated by saying that they don't have any existence of their own. That is how we have to understand. By that alone, that whatever you are really seeking, you can get that, correct? Because if all that is here is also real, then there is no, you will never get the Ananta, correct? Sat and Chit part will come with the Atma Anatma Viveka itself. In fact, for that, mostly even Shruti is not required. Because my own existence, I know I am. That I am a conscious being also, I know that. And even the simple logic that the knower cannot be the known, Shruti need not teach me, correct? Even that, I can arrive at it. The simple Atma Anatma Viveka is not a big deal. I am not what I know. This thing you keep on applying, then you arrive at the idea that I am only the conscious entity to whom everything becomes evident. And whatever is becoming evident to me cannot be I. That itself frees you from all the problems of your body mind sense complex. If you are able to apply this properly and you do not have any identity with your own body mind sense complex, means all the problems of individuality are dissolved. But still, if all these things are equally real, they can still trouble me, correct? That is why we have to show that none of these are not, they are not even in the same order of reality. It is like a dream tiger only. Dream tiger is not going to do anything to me here, correct? Like this, the world actually doesn't really exist. Once you have woken up, the world doesn't really exist, in fact. That is the truth. And that's what you have, that also you have to assimilate. I alone am existing. Whatever is seen is all only appearance. Drishyatvat mithya. And it doesn't really exist. Apart from me, there is no existence at all. That is the oneness, that is the teaching of Ekatvam. That Ekatvam only is taught by the Shruti, that is the Tatparya of the Shruti. And that is why that methodology of teaching is used. A particular way of teaching this, by deliberately superimposing and then by negating everything, whatever is left out, that is you, that is yourself, and that's all you need to understand finally. Is that clear?
This is like instinct taking LKG
What?
So I think we should ask people to tell what they understand, what they don't, so that we can reset.
Yeah, you can also.
We should actually feel that.
Huh?
So it's better, no? Otherwise it will all go over the top.
I pose the questions. See, one is about the creation. God says the Aarsha and Vidya and everything is creation. His creation. There is something, somebody is there who created this. And then we try to study well that there is nothing like creation. So you need to, when you understood that, you are liberated. So here only about the Aarsha. One can be created, a pot can be created if you have a clay. A globe can be only if there is a filament or a pattern. The Aarsha is what? It is the thing which is there. Absence of matter is the Aarsha.
No, that's not how we define, correct?
So that what is Aarsha? He says Aarsha is there. Every bee, for a common point, Aarsha means thing is the Brahmanda, means but wherever which has got not only the planet Earth, everything together is called Aarsha. Aarsha
Veli.
Veli.
In Sanskrit we say Avakasha Pradatra Akasham. That is how we say. That which accommodates, correct? That which gives
And what is the question?
space.
So what is, if it is not, a thing which is not existing, so how it can create?
Okay, how Akasha, everything you are talking about are only Akasha.
Aarsha.
So you say Akasha does not exist.
No, I'm not telling you that. I have a doubt. What is Aarsha? If it is not there, if it cannot be defined or matter, it cannot be how it is created.
See, space time,
Secondly,
space.
and just a few more. All may be related to come to our question. We say that since we know there are conflicts of interest, that we say that we need liberation or moksha. But even if you take the world, this knowledge is available to only to few. Those who understood and those who want to question also very few only knows. Otherwise, nobody bothered everything going on. And there are places where this knowledge is even not even available. There are many places. So, for them what is? There is no preparation or anything.
Okay.
That's all.
Yeah, okay.
This is a very true immediately has come.
Okay.
So the other one is that in Sister what they say, they are almost Advaitis. Only thing is we have Narayana as a main creator or the for everything. He only motion, ultimately he also says, Bhagavad Gita, you come to me, afterwards you are attending. So we also talk about God or the Bhagavan or Ishvara. Then there is a conflict. Sometimes comes to that really is there. If it is there, who is? If it is not there, then that statement of Bhagavad Gita itself is unable to comprehend. So these are some conflict arise, which I try to go through and try to get some answers. If you can show some.
There are too many things are there in what you are saying.
Three questions he asked. What is if space itself is not a tangible object,
Correct.
what do you mean
So,
by the creation?
Space is not non-existence like you think, correct? Space itself doesn't exist, then how do we say that everything exists in space only we are saying, correct? Things cannot exist in something which is not even existing. So space is not like any other tangible object, you can say, but it is still something which exists, which is the one which which accommodates everything we say, correct? Even in Sanskritam we say avakasha pradatra akasha. Avakasha pradatra means that which gives accommodation to everything. Every other object or entity exists only in space. And when we say in space, time also is included in that. So space-time as an entity is not something non-existent. In fact, that is the most subtle element, you can say. That's why we say that is the one which was created first. Unless there is space, you cannot even talk about any other object, correct? Because every other object is only in space afterwards. So that is why space is the first element which has come out of this Atma, like that we say. Even the space, even in your dream world you can understand, correct? The entire dream world is projected along with the space-time only, there also. So wherever any kind of projection is there, whether it is waking world or dream world, there has to be space and time. And space is the one which accommodates all the other objects. So that way we have to talk about space as an element in itself. And that goes along, that space-time is created is something which is now accepted, correct? Even last 100 years in science also. Before that people thought space-time is absolute. It's not even created like that. But then our Shastra has always been very clear that space itself is created. And in fact in that Bhashyakara also includes time there. Kalasyapi karanatvat, like that he writes.
See, two things we say also. One, there is a attribute also we talk about. Sound as an attribute. Sound travels in space. Second is how do we show space? In Dakshinamurti, for example, Swami used to say that the Udukai, the Damaru is shown because it is enclosing space. Space is shown through enclosure. So what you say is inside the Damaru. It's only space, right? So you cannot say space is non-existent. Otherwise, how do you explain what is inside the Damaru? You can say nothing exists as a tangible object. But still, whatever the enclosure has to be called space. So that is why it is Avakasha Pradatra, because it can accommodate something. It's the dimensionality, so you have to account for it. So there is, from space, then air also is not visible. Right? After that, fire, water and solids are visible. Right? Air or wind is tangible because we can feel it exists. doesn't take.
Or it
doesn't
is
have-
also required for the sound waves to travel or any wave to travel, correct? So without space-time, there is no any other travel there. So space, in fact, but whatever you are asking is not very far-fetched, because the Buddhists do not accept that there is something called space.
No, it is.
So this is an objection which is actually there in the Bhashya and all that. In our Shastra, it is actually because the Buddhists only accept 4 elements. They don't accept the 5th element at all. And there are a lot of arguments with the Buddhists on this, saying that space is actually something which has to exist as an element. The Nayayika also argues in a different way. Like he says that otherwise the Shabda, how will you account for the Shabda? So Shabda Gunakam, Akasham, like that also it is looked upon. And space is the one in which any wave or any kind of medium has to travel or has to exist. Without space, even that is not possible. Therefore, space has to be accepted as something existing. And further we say, if you take Veda as a Pramana now, we go back to the Veda Pramana. Veda Pramana is very clear that space is created. Okay. So space has to be accepted as an entity which is created.
What is the second question? Third one is Vishnu, right?
Tell me.
What is the second question?
Second is about the knowledge of moksha.
It's not available to everybody, you are saying.
It is.
That is fine. See, any knowledge is not available to everybody, correct? Unless you are qualified, you cannot gain the knowledge.
No, it is not only not getting qualified. Suppose this Upanishad or the Veda, that is a pramana. But that pramana is available only in the limited region or the portion as of now, to my knowledge. I don't know whether they have been or they may be available in different form in elsewhere. For example, Africa or those places. There are also
See, wherever the Brahmatma Aikyam is taught, that is all Vedanta, in whichever form. But that is only available right now in our country, in our culture, which is true. We are the ones who are preserving this knowledge. There is no doubt about that. Of course, at some point in time, this Vedic knowledge itself must have been spread all over the world also. We don't know about that in the distant past, how it was. And then we also have some explanations like this is Kali Yuga and all that. Correct? So in Kali Yuga, of course, this knowledge is only flickering here and there. Correct? It's not like a blazing sun, visible everywhere, but it is still flickering here and there. If you are genuinely qualified and if you want to know, you can still find teachers who can teach you. So I don't know, there cannot be any objection about this, I think.
no objection.
But any knowledge for that matter is only available to few people. Correct? How many people know quantum physics in the world, you tell me, or how many places it is taught? Like that, any knowledge itself can be only made available to those who are qualified for that, and not everybody may be qualified or not everybody may be interested also. Unless somebody is interested, you cannot teach, correct? That is why our tradition, we cannot preach it. Understand that? It is not just a belief system to preach. Belief system you can go and preach, you can even frighten people. If you don't believe me, you will go to hell and all that, correct? Ours is not a belief system. It is knowledge we are talking about. Knowledge means it has to be only taught. And it can be only taught if you ask for it, in fact. Unless you ask for it, I cannot even give it to you. Just because I like my mother and parents and my brothers, I cannot even teach them. Unless they ask for it, I cannot teach. In fact, that comes out even in the Gita, correct? Because Arjuna and Krishna were cousins, thick friends. They were together, they went on so many escapades together. But Krishna never taught Arjuna all those years. Is that clear? He did not teach. When did he teach? Arjuna explicitly says, Shishyasteham Shadima. So he says, I am your Shishya, please teach me. Only after that Bhagavan teaches. Even otherwise, before that also, even in the Bhagavad Gita itself, Krishna is only actually chiding Arjuna. He says, Klaipyam mas magam partha, naitattvai yupapadyate, Kshudram hridaya daurbalyam, tektva trishta parantapa, things like that only. He is only giving some advice or saying that all this is, does not look good on you. Whatever you are saying and all this is like you are just a coward, he says almost, correct? But Arjuna is a great warrior. So Krishna is only scolding him, literally. He didn't teach anything. But at that time Arjuna explicitly says, no, I don't see any way out. Whether I win or I lose, I don't see myself as a happy person. So he suddenly recognizes a fundamental problem there. And then says, you only have to now teach me. I am your Shishya. Then only it is taught. So Vedanta itself can only be taught if it is asked by people. See, like unless you come here for the retreat, I can't teach you. Understand that? So the very fact that you are whatever you have registered and you have taken the effort to come here, we assume that you are asking for this knowledge. That is the only reason we can teach you. Otherwise, there is no way of teaching. Any teaching can only be given for the asking and only for the one who has the qualifications to receive that. Otherwise, we have to say, go and get yourself qualified and you come. That also we say, correct? You go to a Vedanta Guru, of course, along with teaching Vedanta, the Guru also has to help you to become qualified also in many ways, correct? So that is the yoga part of the thing. In the Bhagavad Gita itself, there is also the Jnana is also talked about. It is Brahma Vidya, Yoga Shastra we say, correct, in the Gita. So the Brahma Vidya is the actual teaching. But Yoga Shastra is the one which will make you qualified to receive this teaching. Both are taught by the Guru. So that is the thing. So it cannot be given to everybody, in fact, that we can forget. Even if I teach also, out of 100, only 2-3 people will really understand. That is what see, Manushyanam Sahasreshu Kaschid Yatati Siddhaye, like that Bhagavan says. So amongst thousands of people, only one person is even making an effort to know this, he says. Yatatamupi Siddhanam Kaschid Mam Veti Sarvashaha Tattvataha. So only, even amongst those who make effort, only very few really know me. Okay? The reality.
One thing you can ask is, see, Arjuna knew Krishna is a jnani, is there. Now what happens to people who don't know about Krishna? See, but that problem is, today, the search is, if a person is searching for moksha, liberation, the person has already analyzed Parikshya Lokam like this. And then he knows he needs something else. Then once a person is searching, automatically he will end up, right? That's what, see, how you see people from Japan, Mexico, wherever, right? So now even in those days, if you look at Shankara, he was born in Kerala. His guru was in Madhya Pradesh. This guru is Gaudapada, who is from West Bengal. Right? And Gaudapada learned from Patanjali to start in Chidambaram, South India. And Patanjali wrote Bhashyam for Panini, who was supposed to be from Lahore. So when the world wasn't even connected to any communication, those who needed knowledge always found where.
So yeah, those who want knowledge will find the teacher. Okay, that is the thing. So that part only this much we can answer. Okay, in fact, every knowledge is only for those who are qualified to receive that knowledge. That's all we can say. We cannot say why it is not available to everybody. Means that is their karma. At the end of the day, everything we have to go back to the karma only. Because some punya has to be there to come to Vedanta also. Otherwise, you are not going to come. It's 100% true. Understand that. There is, it is said explicitly in Vivekachudamani and other texts also. Correct? That the very fact that you have got a Manushya Janma itself is some punya. Even in that, then you develop an interest for this and go in search of a guru who knows the subject matter and find such a guru, means that is again only some punya vashadeva. All others do not have that. That's all we can say. And what is the other thing you are saying is?
That's right. No, no. You see, basically, for any of us, we will get this sort of conflict in mind.
Yeah.
That one is the Ishvara, Paramatma, and even Bhagavad he says, ultimately everybody comes to me. So,
Correct. What does he mean by me only there you have to understand. See, Sarva Dharman Parityajya Mam Ekam Sharanam Vaja is what? Mam Ekam is the word used. Correct. So that Mam, when Krishna says Mam, does he mean the Krishna body, mind, sense complex, or what does he really say there? Can we analyze that? Because Krishna's body, mind, sense complex is not there anymore now. Correct? Where is that? That is already gone. Even if you read the Mahabharata or Bhagavata and all that, Krishna's body is already gone. It's not there anymore. So what did he mean by Mam Ekam? Mam Ekam has to mean only this Atma Swarupa, correct? It cannot mean anything else. Even when Bhagavan says I and you say I, it is not two different I's. Understand that. It is there is only one I. Everybody uses the same pronoun. And that pronoun points to the same entity. And you have to surrender to that alone. There is no other surrender, really speaking. Surrender means you surrender all your limitations. What remains is the limitless alone. Is it clear? That is the only real surrender. No, nothing else. Surrender saying you cannot remain separate. Then you are holding on to something limited only. In the name of surrender, you say, no, how can I be Bhagavan? Means you are reducing Bhagavan also into another object, in fact. You are making yourself also limited. You will make Bhagavan also limited. Because you say Bhagavan is only Krishna holding the flute and all that means what? Bhagavan is only some object or what? If you make Bhagavan into another object, you are making Bhagavan into Jada and Bhagavan into Parichinna also. Correct? Bhagavan becomes limited and insentient object. How can that be? Bhagavan has to be Chetana. Bhagavan is Ananta. If Bhagavan is really like that, then Bhagavan cannot be just an object. I am not saying this, it is explicitly said in the Upanishad, Nedam edidam upasate. Correct? Yen manasana manute yena hur manomatam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam edidam upasate. Yet chakshushana pashyati yena chakshumshi pashyati tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam edidam upasate. Yet shrotrena na shrinoti yena shrotra vidam shrutam tadeva brahmatvam vidhi nedam edidam upasate. Like that it keeps on going. What is the meaning? That which cannot be heard through your ears, but that which makes the ears function as ears, so that you can hear through the ear. That is Brahman, and not something which you do upasana in your mind, that which you objectify with your mind. Nedam edidam upasate, it says. Whatever you visualize with your mind, that is not Brahman. That is not Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the one who makes your mind work as mind itself, correct? Which cannot be objectified by the mind. That which is behind the mind and which makes the mind function as the mind, that conscious entity is Brahman. Means it is not separate from you also, and Brahman is not something which can be objectified by your mind or visualized by your mind. That is the teaching.
See, also,
so everybody who says that Bhagavan is having some form, sitting in Vaikunta, Golok, Brahman, Vrindavan and all that, they have no idea about the teaching.
Also, right, in Gita itself, Bhagavan himself introduces who he is, right? He says, Bhugirapo Anado Vayu, Kamano Bhugirevacha, Ahankara Vitiyam Me, Vinna Prakriti Rashkara. So he says, I am the entire space, I am all water, I am all fire. So he is Panchabhuta. And he is the Hiranyagarbha, all that he says. And he also says, Kshetrajnam Japimam Vidhi Sarva Kshetreshu Bharata. He is saying he is the consciousness which pervades in all bodies. So if he is a limited Krishna with one form, how can he pervade all bodies? How can he be the Panchabhuta? So it's not possible. So
Correct.
in Gita itself, he himself says who he is. Then you can't take Sarvadharman Paritejya to be only Krishna.
Is it clear? So don't get confused by the for upasana purposes. You can worship Bhagavan in any form. There is no restriction. But don't think that Bhagavan is restricted only to that form. Is it clear? In fact, that is a danger in Upasana actually. You get so enamored or attached to one form, you are now limiting Bhagavan only to that form, correct? That itself is a problem actually. In fact, it is discussed in the Shastra also. It is not that it is not discussed. These things are actually discussed as a pratibandhaka. It is a hindrance. That is why this Bhagavad Swarupa has to be first understood correctly. That is why there is a Bhakta. Bhagavan says different types of bhaktas are there, correct? Artho, Jignyasur, Artharthi, Jnani cha Bharatarshava. Like that he is saying 4 types of bhaktas are there. Arthaha means one who is in some difficulty, right? Anybody who is in difficulty, who thinks that there is no help available locally, even atheists will then call for Bhagavan, correct? At that time, till then everybody is very brave. If you are faced with some difficulty, even so-called atheists may say, whatever, he may call out, Bhagavan, help me. Means that is quite natural. Then Artharthi. Artharthi is even better. So he wants success in all his endeavors, so he includes Bhagavan also as a partner, correct? He always prays to Bhagavan before he does anything, which is good actually. That is how in fact one should lead one's life, because intelligent living means you have to take help from all avenues and you have to take help from Bhagavan. Bhagavan is the one who can remove whatever, correct, any hindrances in the form of a papa. By praying to Bhagavan, you can neutralize all that. So any endeavor you undertake, you start with a prayer. Such a person is Artharthi. But then, up to this, you can think of Bhagavan only as your Upasya Murti, correct? Whichever is your Ishta Devata, in that form only you are thinking of Bhagavan. Which is fine for such people. But then from there what? You want to know what is this Bhagavad Swarupa? Who is this Bhagavan? I just think, right, most people simply think that Bhagavan is some power which is beyond all of us, something very great and all that. But beyond that they never think about it much, correct? Or an Artharthi, an Arthaha, or one who is afflicted only thinks of Bhagavan during difficulties. Artharthi is all the time transactionally has a whatever relationship with Bhagavan, a transactional relationship. But beyond that you want to go and understand who is this Bhagavan really? What is the nature of this Bhagavan? Once you have such thoughts, then you become a Jignasu. That's what Bhagavan himself says. Jignasu is a Bhakta. Understand that? Bhakta means everybody is now thinking that only if you dance and do some bhajana you are Bhakta, correct? That is okay. I am not saying they are not Bhakta, but that is not the only way you are a Bhakta. In fact, you are a better Bhakta if you really want to know the Bhagavad Swarupa. In fact, who is this Bhagavan? What is the nature of this Bhagavan? What does the Shastra say about Bhagavan? I want to know. Then you are a Jignasu, because knowing Bhagavad Swarupa also will lead you to knowing your own Swarupa. There is no difference, correct? It's not any different then. Once you want to know the Bhagavad Swarupa, you have to also know yourself. Unless you know yourself, you are not going to know the nature of Bhagavan also. You have to first know yourself, your nature, and then you have to discover that your nature is not different from Bhagavan's nature. Then you are a Jnani. So all this Jignasu and Jnani, even sitting in the Vedanta class means don't think you are not a Bhakta. In fact, you are one of the best Bhakta. Because in the Vedanta class, all we are discussing is the Bhagavad Swarupa only, right? What is the nature of Bhagavan? That's what we are trying to understand here. And there is no better bhakti than this. Even some people who give discourses and all, they somehow think that those who are studying Vedanta, for example, correct, or Jnana Marga and all, they think is somewhat inferior. They say that Bhakta, only bhakti will give you moksha. Even to understand bhakti, you need jnana. Without jnanam, there is no real bhakti, in fact. Otherwise, it is only some emotional attachment. It's nothing more than that, really speaking. They think that jnani means you will have ego and all that. One who has ego is not really a jnani, understand that. Jnani cannot have any ego. Jnani knows very well that ego is not one swarupa. Then only you can be a jnani. The one who takes the individuality seriously cannot be a jnani. And jnani also is the one who has surrendered everything. Some traditions are talking about Sharanagati and all that, correct? But they do not have real Sharanagati. Why? Because they still want to hold on to their individuality. Then where is Sharanagati? They still say that I am separate, Bhagavan is separate. They want to hold on to their individuality. There is no Sharanagati. Real Sharanagati is there only in Advaita. Why? Because you have to, all your limitations you have to give up. That is the real Sharanagati. When you surrender all your limitations, what remains is the limitless Swarupa alone. That is the real surrender. That is the real Sharanagati that you will discover in fact. That has to be discovered. So whichever way you look at it, Jnanam alone is Bhakti. And Bhakti also has to lead to Jnana. Otherwise there is no fulfillment of the Bhakti really. So there is no conflict, understand that. There are some misconceptions which can lead to, which may make you think that somehow pursuit of jnana means there is no bhakti. But the pursuit of jnana itself is the greatest form of bhakti. That's what we have to understand. There is no better bhakti than this. That's why he said, jnani tu atmaiva me matam. Like that Bhagavan said. Udara sarve evaite. Jnani tu atmaiva me matam, like that Bhagavan says. Jnani is not separate from me, he says. Jnani is my Atma alone is Jnani. Okay, Om. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayaः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्तिः 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 हरिः ॐ श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः हरि ओम।